Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. There are still pockets of violence going on in South Africa against foreigners of African descent, many of them Nigerians. And when a local Nigerian airline, Air Peace, offered a hand of fellowship to Nigerians stranded in what has been a theater of horror in the past few weeks, the response was overwhelming. The airline immediately dispatched a Boeing 777 aircraft on a rescue mission, and the first batch of 187 evacuees arrived in Nigeria last week. But there have been rumors that the operation has been suspended. How true is this? For answers to this, we're now being joined here by Onyema, the owner and chairman of Air Peace Airline, an indigenous private carrier which was established in 2013 with its corporate headquarters in Lagos. Onyema, welcome to the morning show.
Thank you very much.
Well, first, let me tell you that I'm a fan. I'm an admirer.
Me too.
I've been carrying placards for you saying Onyema is the man, you know, because the patriotism that you have demonstrated, the commitment that you have shown, I think is very commendable. And I've written, both online and elsewhere, to say that you deserve not just a presidential handshake, you also deserve a national honor.
Yes.
Because it's people like you, you know, who have shown us that there is hope in this country. So we welcome you to the morning show, and thank you for coming. But let me ask you, I mean, what motivated you? Everybody is complaining it's time to pay school fees, you know, country hard, foreign exchange access is an issue. But you've spent about almost 300 million naira to bring Nigerians in distress back home. What's the motivation?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for, I feel flattered by all you said. You know, thank you. I feel encouraged too. Now, talking about motivation, the truth is this. Looking at the gory pictures coming out from South Africa, looking at what Nigerians were going through, I saw a lot of hopelessness. I saw a lot of, you know, a huge dehumanization situation. I saw catastrophe coming. At the same time, I saw helplessness. And I told myself, it was spontaneous. I told myself that, why should anyone sit down and watch this happen? Heaping insults on over 200 million people, calling us drug addicts, drug pushers, scammers, and other kind of thing. You see, when you want to hit someone, the first thing you do is to dehumanize that person. The first thing you do is to poison your mind against that person. So in nonviolence, you don't try to hit somebody first. You must have looked at the person and called the person an animal. All those name calling, oh, they are this, they are that. You're preparing grounds to hit. So I saw a situation that if something was not done and done immediately, it might lead to more death. And we had about, official statistics show that about 118 people, 18 Nigerians have lost their lives, and that's a huge number. So I decided there and then. In fact, I was in a meeting at the NCAA. They called the airline operators to a meeting. We were there, and I was watching television, and I saw gory pictures coming out of South Africa. And immediately I said, look, I'm going to evacuate these people. The insult was getting too much on the nation. So the motivation was to let the world know that we as Nigerians, we may have our differences within. We might have the things that try to tear us apart within, but nobody can bend the resolve of Nigerians to live together. So I decided to do something to, at the same time, show up broad nationalism in the country. What we have in Nigeria is ethnic nationalism, Igbo and Yoruba and Hausa and Fulani and that kind of things. Forgetting that the makeup of this country is about 378 ethnic nationalities that make up the country. This is a huge source of strength. However, it has become an albatross of a kind, like a cause for us, instead of the other way around. So remember, I'm the chairman of the Foundation for Ethnic Harmony in Nigeria, the organization with which I went into the Niger Delta to transform militants. So I've been doing such things. This is not the first time. I love this country, and I believe that if only we can get our acts together as a nation and celebrate those things that bind us together more, this country might even be greater than so many countries in Europe. So it was my motivation to bring these people back, not for any publicity, not for anything. It was spontaneous. I didn't even think about the financial layout. When I picked the call, I called the federal government. I said, look, I'm ready to evacuate Nigerians free of charge now, and I want it in the immediate. I called the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He said, what? I said, yes, I will do it now. I give it to him, I'm sure he contacted the villa and others. I called the Minister of Aviation. I said, I want to deploy my 777 to South Africa to bring back Nigerians immediately, to send a signal to South Africa they cannot continue to insult whatever we represent as a nation. He too said, Alan, God bless you, God bless you. So the minister was supportive. And later in the evening, I'm sure the federal government, under the president must have given them a go-ahead. Okay, allow him. So I thank Mr. President for it wasn't an easy decision for the president to allow me to go and do that. So it shows that the president believes in the well-being of every Nigerian citizen, because he could have stopped me. Remember, the government didn't order evacuation on their own. I started it, so he could have stopped me. It was very easy for them to have said, no, don't go.
Well, President Buhari has said consistently that ensuring the security of all Nigerians is a collective,
it's a collective
responsibility.
Yes, so I thank Mr. President for allowing me to do that. And you could see, let me tell you something, Ruben. We have to be careful. The way we allow foreign countries to demean this country. They are very quick to publish scammers, very quick to tell us some few people who are doing drugs in some places. But you have over 200 million Nigerians. Not all of us indulge in those vices. And Nigerians are quick to condemn themselves. If you know the way they do their investigation abroad, out of all those millions of people who say, oh, we investigated this, we've indicted this. If you look into it, some of them just telephone call. If they are looking for someone and you happen to have called that person any time in your life and the telephone calls crisscrossed, believe me, you're already a suspect. And when they're releasing names of those who they're investigating, your name will be there. And you see Nigerians say, oh, these people have done this. Wait until it goes to court. So over there, we've been stigmatized as a nation. Nigerians have been stigmatized as a nation. So whatever anybody pushes out there, it becomes true. Yeah. So many Nigerians have lost their lives abroad innocently. They go to the courts don't even believe what they are saying because they're Nigerians.
That's what you were saying about the dehumanization and how that is always the front that is firstly used to break down a nation.
Yes.
And I think it's very important that you stated that because we need to understand that that is the crux of the matter here at hand. Now, initially, the reports that came out stated that Air Peace were looking at evacuating about 314 Nigerians or so. The first batch of Nigerians came back, and then we had some mixed reports about suspension of activity. So I'd like you to clarify, sir, whether more evacuations are going on, because we do know that reports have come out stating that more Nigerians will be coming back this week. Is that through Air Peace, or have you suspended those activities?
First of all, let me say this. I saw the news in one of the national dailies, and I wonder where they got their story from. And I've said it times with a number, that I'm ready to send in my equipment there to evacuate as many Nigerians as are willing to come back. Not even a single soul will be left. We are ready to do that. I will not go to my grave with my purse. I will not go to my grave with my bank account. I'm not going to go to my grave with the number of houses I'm able to have. I want to send a signal to everyone that it is the legacy you leave behind that matters, not your bank account. So I'm ready to evacuate every Nigerian that is willing to leave that enclave called South Africa. See, we wanted to evacuate 320 because the aircraft that's sent in there in the first place could take 320 people. When we got there, the authorities in South Africa started frustrating us. They didn't want that evacuation to happen. That was what happened. So at the end of the day, some people were turned back. they started claiming that they needed to explain how they even entered South Africa in the first place. I give it to Godwin Adama, the Consul General in South Africa. That man has never slept in the last 1 week. He's working. Even the boys themselves, when they came back, they said the nation should help them thank that man. They frustrated him. They frustrated us. My staff went in there, stood up for 25 hours, and they were bent and resolved that they must come back with these people. They even refused to take allowances. The AP's crew, they said this will be their own contribution to the event. So nobody has suspended the evacuation. The next evacuation is happening tomorrow.
Amazing.
Yes, and APC is sending a 777 there. They've already gotten about 350 of them, but the aircraft will be 320, just in case some others wouldn't. Then the backup, what we call the waiting list will now make up the number. We want to make sure we take full load as your company. That will help me, cut costs too. But if I go in there to take 50 people, or 100 people, or 180, you continue going every time. But if we're able to be taking full load, I have a capacity, another aircraft that has the capacity of about 364. Yeah, but I'm not deploying that one. I'm deploying the one of 320. So the motivation there could be seen in what happened at the airport. That has even motivated me the more. I was looking forward to saving lives. I didn't bargain for what is now happening. Ruben, my joy is today that Air Peace, with what we've done, we've hit South Africa below the belt. South Africa now is begging because they never expected that evacuation could happen. Evacuation is not a good thing for any country. It sends a wrong signal to the international community about security and safety in your nation. So what we did hit them. They couldn't believe it. I got information that they even went to the High Commission to beg, even before that evacuation happened. When my aircraft arrived, begging that it shouldn't happen, you could hear one of their ministers, the Deputy Minister of Security, addressing international press yesterday, saying that Nigeria never evacuated anybody, that it was a private airline owner that decided to send his plane, that Nigeria didn't evacuate, trying to paint a picture
that it has nothing to do with the federal government.
Yeah, that the federal government, that the relationship between them and Nigeria is still cordial.
Another way of dehumanizing us.
And another way of... So these people, you see, what the South African citizens were doing had the tacit support of their government. When you listen to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the country calling us drug, a lot of them are drug pushers, kind of stigmatizing a whole nation. The Deputy Minister of Police saying negative things about foreign black nationals in their country. And even the campaign, when you look at the campaign, electronic campaign videos of the incumbent president, what did he say? So you could see tacit support, but the evacuation now made them, because I heard that so many flights going into South Africa, tourists are canceling their flights. Immediate evacuation happened all over the world. They heard about this. They saw pictures of what happened. People are withdrawing. So they became threatened. Stocks have gone down. So we retaliated in a non-violence way. We didn't cause violence. We only said, thank you. You call our people criminals. We are coming to take them.
We held our
now
back.
Allow us to take these criminals away for you in order to help you. And they're refusing.
Very nice. Very patriotic. We'll take a short break, but when we return, I would like you to tell us a little more about Air Peace, because there may be some Nigerians who are just hearing of Air Peace, for the first time. When you started, international flights, how the company is faring, what the mission is, and what the situation is in the aviation sector. We'll talk about all that. But we'll take a short break now. We still have with us Onyema, the chairman of Air Peace Airline. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're still watching The Morning Show here on the Arise News channel. And with us in the studio is Onyema, the chairman of Air Peace Airline, the indigenous private carrier which helped to evacuate Nigerians in distress in South Africa back home. Now, before we went on break, I was asking you to tell us a little about Air Peace, your airline. I mean, I read your profile. I understand when you came to Lagos, you didn't have a penny to even board Molue. But today you have, an airline, that is providing support for Nigerians. What is the background to the story? How has it been? What's your vision and mission, as a businessman? And of course, you are a lawyer. You went to the University of Ibadan, right? But within a short space of time, you've gone from a man who could not pay for Molue. You are now providing.
To a man that's saving lives.
Yes. Can you tell us a little about that?
Well, first and foremost, I give thanks to God Almighty, Jordan to God. And right from my university days, I've always involved myself in peace building. It didn't start today. I just want to please God Almighty. That's all. And I always pray to God, give me the capacity to touch lives. Give me the capacity to help people. I don't really look at wealth as something, the way other people look at it. That is me. I'm luckily enough, I come from a family also that we don't worship wealth in our family. So you try to use it to help everyone around and touch lives. Because I believe that except and only when my brothers and sisters are called to my table of prosperity, then my life is a ruse. So that has been my philosophy in life. Yes, I started from a humble beginning, called to Dubai in 1989, but I've always been blessed by God. Started practice in 1990, but before I got the first law firm, Winslow & Company, that employed me, it was tough because I rebelled against my parents. They wanted me to work for Shell in Warri, and they were getting me the job, but I didn't want to be with parents any longer. I wanted to free myself. So I rebelled against them. I came to Lagos. So because my parents didn't support me, they didn't give me any money because they wanted me to be in Warri. I came here and I was squatting in one of my younger sister's husband's place, sleeping on the floor.
Where is that?
Oshodi.
Oshodi.
Yeah. I was squatting.
Do you know where Oshodi is?
I do.
Oh, sure, Leila,
Think about it. If I covered radio and I'm getting calls in from all over Lagos.
Because I've met people who say they don't know Oshodi, they don't know Coco Michael.
They don't know the city they're living in.
So I started like that. Every morning I would go, I wanted to practice law. I was looking for chambers to employ me. I would go in, they say, oh, nobody. I got some referrals, and I went in. They said, come tomorrow. The next day, oh, please, we don't want to see anybody here. I started crying. Until I met Chief Winslow, may he so rest in peace. And he said, my son, I have 7 lawyers, but you can be coming here and be learning. Maybe someday I might have to employ you. But for now, I have 7 other lawyers. So that alone made me happy. So I went in there. My in-law helped me, printed complimentary cards for me. So I was going there, and they now gave me a case. That case was in that office even before I graduated from the University of Ibadan. And the case was it was a UBA case against my principal himself. And his house in Allen Avenue then was tagged. It was going to be used. So it was a bad case for the office, and they thought they were losing the case. So they gave it to me to go and get adjournment. But I took it as a challenge. I looked through the file. I saw a loophole somewhere. And I went to court, and I told them, look, I'm going to attack the jurisdiction of this court to try. There's a case that had gone through trials and everything. What are you going to do? They were laughing at me. But I went, long story short, that was my first case. As a new lawyer, I was not supposed to go to the High Court on my own. In fact, even Magistrate Court, I wasn't supposed to go alone. Somebody should have led me. But I led myself against a senior advocate of this country who came with 3 other lawyers. My brother, when I sat down and they called up my case, I was still sitting down. Fear. And the female judge was like, who is representing the defendants? Then I stood up. I didn't know what to say. I looked around. Yes. Then I mustered some courage. I said, may it please my lawyer, Onyema, for the defendant applicant, because I said, And the rest was history. The moment I stood up, there was no stopping me because I was well prepared. On the next Friday was the ruling, and I won. So when I came back to the office and I told my principal that I won, he was surprised. They didn't believe me until I went and got the CTC of that judgment.
Certified true copy.
Yes. So he said, yo, in that case, I'm going to retain this boy. So he now gave me a job, and I was earning 500 naira a month.
500 naira?
A month. So I had a friend, Dele, in Oshodi. I've been looking for him. I don't know how to see him now. He was one of the people that made me. Dele took me to Alagbado, where...
That's almost in Ogun State.
Yes, land.
After Alagbado, you have Alakuko.
Yes, to show me lands. You know, large expanse of land. I was, you know, this kind of was my friend. One of the boys I meet in the garages and other. So I followed him. We went there. I saw this land. Then I told him, okay, I could get people to buy. I got people to buy about 6 plots. The land was going for 5,000 then. And I sold for 10,000. So I made 30,000. I had to go and change my suit. And then went to work, brought my passage that my father bought for me when I was in law school. Did everything. Life had begun for me. A month later, the family now called me because I've been selling for them and giving them their money and said, okay, you manage this 300 plus of land. I was very young, just barely 24, less than that. So they gave it to me to manage for them. One Saturday morning, 300 plus of land. And I said, how much is mine? They said, no, whatever you put on top is yours. So I now started selling 10,000. I was making 5, which was huge money then. Advertised in National Concord, Moshood Abiola's, Mr. Rest in Peace, yes, National Concord. Abiola. Yeah. People now started coming from all over the country buying. It was cheap, but at the same time, it was affordable, and I was making money. At the end, I ended up buying about 67 myself. That was how Onyema and Co. property company started. I was one of the biggest landowners, even in Lekki, the Mayegu axis.
You became an able man selling land in Lagos.
Yes, sir. Yes. Ayobo, I met Yomi Phillips, yes, who introduced a whole over 700 plus of land I bought.
Wow.
So I said, I was making money and I was creating them into layouts, but I wasn't building them. And people were buying. I got all these bulldozers and others. Even in Lekki, besides one former vice president, I don't think anybody owned more than me along that Lekki axis before 1996.
Wow.
So that was how I started. Then I created a trading company. I was importing electronics into the country. I was discharging at the Ibru Jetty. Then, of course, I was doing my peace-building activities with friends, conflict management. So I was involved in a whole lot. I owned the Intercontinental Business Links Limited. So I was involved in a whole lot. The word new, I mean, everybody knows about what I did in the Niger Delta. I just woke up one morning, just like I did with this now, and said, this incidents of violent militants in the Niger Delta must come to an end. I must address it. How do I address it? I didn't know. It was God Almighty at every given step. It was God that was ordering my steps.
But quickly, let's talk about the aviation sector. What are the challenges in the aviation sector? Because we have, you know, cases of air crashes,
yes,
you know, all kinds of mishaps in the industry, and then, you know, complaints about, say, Boeing, for example. You know, you have a Boeing 777, you called it, saying that they will not do business with Nigerian airline companies because Nigerian airline companies do not respect contract obligations and all of that. So what are the challenges?
To add to that as well, sorry, Air Peace also had 2 close calls this year, I believe, as well, which basically then also symbolize the challenges we always face in aviation in Nigeria.
Okay, first of all, the motivation behind me even setting up Air Peace is this. By 2007, I was thinking of how do I touch a critical mass of unemployed people. And somebody said, look, go into aviation, that one Boeing 737 jet could give job to about 1,000 people. I was naive to believe that. So that was the first thing that propelled me. So I started, I trained myself on the job. I had no inkling about what it was all about. So I started developing interest just because I wanted to create jobs for people. If I had wanted to make money, actually, you leave your money in the Nigerian banks, they give you double-digit interest because aviation doesn't make you richer, it makes you even poorer. But my motivation and my happiness is when I see the faces of over 3,000 people employed by APs, over 3,000 Nigerians from all ethnicities working in APs and, you know, having a means of livelihood. That is my motivation. That's why I went into it in the first place. Now, coming about the challenges, there are so many challenges in the industry. Nigeria is a very hostile environment to run aviation. But the current minister, Senator Hadi Sirika, is trying to address all that. He has called us, now that he's a substantive minister, he has been having meetings with us, interfacing with us, you know, trying to rub minds with us to know where it pinches us so that he'll be able to address these issues. Myriad of issues running from poor airport infrastructure, running into even the passengers themselves, even the airlines.
Passengers,
passengers.
Yeah,
so what do we do?
Passengers themselves, even us, the owners of the airline, all of us, we have problems. And if you have time, I will tell you where everybody has his own problem. Now, you talked about close call. Well, to you, it may be a close call. Those things are not limited to Nigeria alone.
Definitely not.
They are not limited to Nigeria alone. In America, every day, something happens. The difference between us and America is that they don't get too excited over it and over-celebrate it in the press. Over here, people have different motives for doing certain things. They wait for something to happen and they over-exaggerate it. What happened in Port Harcourt? The runway was wet and waterlogged. And they had a good flight. But on touchdown, you can't touch down on water, and even your car. And they derailed out of the runway. They didn't overshoot the runway. It was so slippery that they took it out of the runway. It was not.
Thank you very much, Alan Onyema.
Thank you very much, sir.
We've enjoyed this very much, and please continue with the good work you are doing for Nigeria.
Thank you so much.